And hello. So I think I can do these Peterson 12 rules now. I've tried to keep my eyes away from them over the last couple of days. I looked through them once 3 days ago. Stand up straight with your shoulders back. That's rule 1. It's clever. Get people in slowly. I always sit on the floor. As if you ever wondered where I was, I'm sitting on the floor, and I do all my internet watching sitting on the floor. And basically you have to sit up straight with your shoulders back, or you fall over. You can't slouch when you're sitting on the floor. No, rule number 2, treat yourself like you would someone you are responsible for helping. Treat yourself like you would someone you are responsible for helping. Probably, I don't know. Too complicated. Make friends with people who want the best for you. Make friends with people who want the best for you. Ugh. Yeah. Compare yourself with who you were yesterday, not with who someone else is today. Okay, I see that. So I kind of touched on a bit of this about 5 videos ago, didn't I? Compare yourself to who you were yesterday. That's that's a mystic thing. And he's tacked on not with someone else today, which I think is separated by a comma, but they should even be 2 rules of their own. Compare yourself with who you were yesterday. Sounds good and mystic. I like that. Not with someone else today. That should be in a different rule. As in, don't go comparing yourself with other people. Okay. Rule 5, do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. I imagine that's just a way of saying, come on, parents, you can do bloody sight better than you're doing. I can see you from here. You're doing a shit job of parenting. Get your ass together. I think that's what he's saying, isn't he? Don't let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. Makes you dislike them, as in, don't let them be so naughty that you dislike them because they're so naughty. Basically, that's a cryptic way of saying keep the little bastards under control like they did in the old days. Which is probably very good advice. Dislike them. Rule 6, set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. Set your house. Oh, okay. What's the expression there? Yeah. Set your own house in perfect order before you criticize the world. I don't know that is good advice. Because no one's house will ever be in perfect order. So if you stuck to that, there would be no criticism. I think I'm just trying to imagine what he is saying, because what he has actually said doesn't make too much sense. Set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. I think that's basically just saying to critics, I think, basically. I think he's saying to critics, maybe of him, how bloody well are you doing in your own life? Cast the first stone? It's something to do with that, isn't it? But I don't think that setting your own house in perfect order is what he's actually saying. He's basically, it's the other way around. Before you criticize the world, at least have a damn good look at yourself. But even so, I don't know that there are some people that are good at criticizing the world, that their own lives are basically, from an external point of view looking in, a pretty shabby show. So I don't go for that at all. Pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient. Pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient. I think that's a mystic thing as well, isn't it? That's my television thing and education. I forget what I called it. And art, creating art and consuming art, or just creating and consuming. Pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient. Try and do something. I'll go with his word. Meaningful's not bad, but I can't think of a better one. Meaningful. Don't just watch it and everything on television. But the fact of the matter is, Rule 7, people are made to be people who will do things that are meaningful, and the great bulk of people will do things that could be described as expedient. In other words, they just get on with their lives and scrape through and watch television, and that's what they do. That's what the world will put up. Call it in a percentage thing. You can't have everybody stacked over here doing meaningful things. It just won't happen in a natural sort of way. It just won't happen. There will always be a great majority who are just Rule 8, tell the truth, or at least don't lie. Tell the truth, or at least don't lie. I'm just trying to think, what's he saying there? It's not, again, it's a bit like one of the others higher up. It's just basically not possible. Tell the truth, or at least don't lie. Well, let's do it can I say, is it more English to say, as in English UK, be truthful? It's slightly different from tell the truth. But even so, it's not applicable to real people. We go through our lives, telling lies, being untruthful. It's just what you do as a human being. All right, keep it to a minimum and don't be totally untruthful. But I mean, it's just what we do in life. Being a human being is a series of, not all obviously, but it's strategic lie telling. It's what we do. Or it's certainly not telling the unvarnished truth. It's just tell the truth, or at least don't lie. It's basically a cover for, I don't know what it's a cover for. I think if it's anything, it's a cover for, something came to mind, but it's gone again. Don't lie. I think what he's trying to say is, back me up. But I can't explain why I think that. It's certainly an almost nonsense thing to say, tell the truth, or at least don't lie. It's unrealistic, because what we do as humans is lie, or at least don't tell the truth all the time. We just don't do it. Okay, rule 9, assume the person you are listening to might know something you don't. Assume the person you are listening to might know something you don't. I think a variation on that could be, assume the person you are listening to might know something you don't, is exactly that, because it is an absolute and total truth. This rule 9 is undeniable. You can't just assume, or shouldn't just assume, the person. You can be absolutely and totally guaranteed, if of anything in the world, you can be guaranteed that the person you are listening to knows something you don't. It's guaranteed, isn't it? And it's quite an important thing to say, but I don't think he was meaning that at all. But if you give it just a little bit of thought, I shouldn't have to explain it. Whoever you're talking to, knows something that you don't. It's a truth. But that's not what he was saying. All he's saying is give everybody a chance, give everybody's idea a chance, or please give my ideas a chance. Ooh, rule 10, I like the look of that. Be precise in your speech. Because I banged on about that in comments on a couple of videos ago. Speech, I think, is being ruined to a greater extent. The way I described it in comments was speech. Words describe concepts, or are the stand-in for concepts. I'll do a short version. The concept of something, freedom comes to mind. I don't know why for that. I'll use freedom, although it's a horribly bad example. The concept of democracy is probably a better one. The concept of democracy, from demos, the Greek, so that takes us back to the Greeks, so that takes us back 2,500 years maybe. The concept of democracy has taken the 2,500 years to develop into what it is today. And it has the word democracy, which just links to the concept in your brain. That's how brains work. Don't go on to it too much, Nick. Okay, so you've got the concept, and the word democracy points to it. What I think we've had over the last while is that people are jiggering around with these words so much that I think there's a danger of losing 2,500 years worth of developing the concept. Because if you haven't got the word, the way brains work, you have concept and word and speech coming back in the same way. It's speech, word to concept. So if words are being dicked around with, they'll be badly linked to the concept, and the concept might get lost. I won't go into it too much further. That's kind of what I was meaning. So be precise in your speech, I think, is a very important thing. But it either will happen or it won't. But it seems to me that speech is being ruined at the moment. Words, which represent things, the things that they represent are the concepts. And I think that link is being broken. For some reason that video started. Okay. Be precise in your speech. Yeah. First one I've been really happy with, isn't it? Don't know. Do not bother children when they are skateboarding. Okay, I think what that probably means is let children be children while they're children. I will call it, from my point of view, is give younger people a break. Give them a chance. Being a young person is horribly difficult because of the way a body works and the hormones and everything, and the brain working and the cells doing things up until the age of when it's finally finished, which is about 20, 22, something like that. Up until then, all the little joints being made, it's very hard being a teenager, a youngster, an adolescent, and know that they will make mistakes. But you've got two things there. By knowing that they will make mistakes, you've got to keep a bloody good eye on them. But when they make mistakes, don't cut their balls off, because they couldn't help it. Last one, pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. Well, that's just plain stupid and bad advice, bordering on... it's obviously just there as an easy end, like there was an easy start. My advice would be, do not try and pet any sort of a cat when you encounter them on the street. Ever. So how did we do time-wise? 15 minutes. I suppose that's best that can be expected. Sorry for this not being a very up video, but I don't feel totally up this morning myself. But I hope it made some thoughts rattle around in your brainiums. Bye.